Ooh, it's cold, but guess what? Because you're watching me, things have suddenly gotten very hot and wonderful. Thank you, as always, for joining me, Greg Dunmore, the host of the Pulsebeat podcast and vodcast, because you're watching this video as well. And we're at the beautiful, the delicious, the scrumptious End at 97 Winder, and that's in the heart of downtown Detroit, across the street from Little Caesars Arena. If you're not from this market, the Little Caesars Arena is where all the major stars are playing right now, and it is a destination spot, as is Detroit. And if you're coming to Detroit, you want to put on your things to do list. If you're not staying at the End at 97 Winder, is to certainly see this end, because it is absolutely a piece of history. The chandeliers, the artwork, and we're really talking about the best of the best. So if you're coming to Detroit, the End at 97 Winder is a must-stay place for a must-see city, and it's a great time. And we're going to have a great time this particular show, because we're talking to someone who is also scrumptious, delicious, wonderful, and hot. And that's our very own Pulsebeat Media's Michelle Parizon. Michelle, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much. That was a wonderful introduction. Oh my goodness.
And I have to thank you because, you know, behind, they say every great man, there's a great woman behind every organization. In my case, there are two great women, and that's Joel Boykin, who is the director of this show, and she's filming it, as well as you, Michelle, because you bring so much of what makes any organization strong. And we're here right now because of you. Let us know something special about the End at 97 Winder. And you're the person that actually coordinated us being here.
Oh, well, thank you so much. And so the End at 97 Winder is a fabulous piece of real estate in Detroit. We're located in downtown Detroit right now. And the decor, the warmth, the atmosphere, the ambiance are all well worth experiencing for anybody who's going to be coming to Detroit or coming to downtown Detroit.
Indeed. So, yeah, so as I said before, among the many things that make this city shine, the End at 97 Winder is on the top of that list. And when we talk about amazing places, and we're in an amazing place, that means that we've got to talk about what makes you so amazing. And there's so many aspects to Michelle Parizon. So let's see, where do we start? I want to start first, Pulsebeat Media. And this is the way that I'm going to get her to brag about what we're doing. So this is a shameless plug, but it's going to come from her about what we do. Let us know your feelings about Pulsebeat Media, not coming from me, but coming from you.
Oh my goodness, there's so many wonderful things I could say about Pulsebeat Media. First of all, just the concept of what you and Joel have created, Joel Boykin, that is, who's the executive producer and videographer for the program. Just to have the vision that you have to keep art, culture, and entertainment alive is very significant to me. The fact that you work so well as a team means a lot to me. The access you've been able to gain to some of the who's and the best of the best in the entertainment industry, and get them to open up and share their innermost secrets, or aspects of who they are. And the fact that this is an organization which you own, this is yours, this is something which we should be proud as a community, because it's something which doesn't exist beyond the two of you in the city of Detroit. So there are a lot of reasons why I always celebrate Pulsebeat podcast and Pulsebeat Media in general.
Yeah, and something that we own, and as I like to remind people, that the Billie Holiday signature song, God Bless the Child That's Got His Own,
Absolutely.
was written by Arthur Herzog Jr., a friend of mine and my family's, and he lived in Detroit, he died in Detroit, and in that song, God blesses the child that's got his or her own. We're blessed because we've got a dynamic team, and Michelle, you're part of what makes our team so dynamic. And as a broadcast strategist, and by the way, she works on those things that connects the dots, that allows us to do what we do behind the scenes, go so much more in a smooth, a steadfast direction. And from the placement of talent, she's the person that when I can't say no, let me hear you say no, because you can say no better than I can.
That's not a good idea. That's not going to work in. No, but thank you.
You see that you need someone that knows how to, and you made it sound so nice. So if I would say no, I don't know, it might be flat, but when you say no, you know with that sweet voice that she means business. So we're blessed to have you, Michelle.
Thank you so much.
Now, often I talk about her book. She's also an author, and I want to just give a little background because we're going to have a much more detailed discussion concerning her book and the title, which I told her that I want to do the title as a teaser, and when the book is officially launched, then we're going to reveal the title. But she said, no, that's all right, because I'm already telling people the title, so I'm going to have you say the title of a book that I'm telling you it's going to be one of the hottest books of 2019.
Well, thank you so much. The title of the book is Loving Me, Blocking Him, A Young Lady's Guide to Texting, Dating, and Breaking Up.
Yeah, and whenever people find out about the title, and there's one person that got a sneak preview of the book, and she wrote a forward, a recommendation for the book, and I don't think we're going to say her name, but can I just tease who the person is, because people like teases?
You can, but we're going to keep the person's name under wraps.
Well, there is a mega star, and if it was not for this lady, the mega star would not be a mega star. And this person has endorsed the book, and I can't say the name. I just want to say the name, but let me give you a clue. Let me think. Big things come in small packages. That's my clue.
Okay.
Big things come in small packages. That's a clue. The book, I've got to give them just a little something else about the book. There's several chapters. All the chapters sparkle, but there's one chapter that sparkles in a way that just gets me. And what chapter is that, kind lady?
It's probably You Don't Have to Twerk It to Work It.
Oh yeah, and why is that chapter maybe touching my heart a little differently than, well, all the chapters touch my heart, but why is that a special chapter for me?
It's a special chapter for you because you're the one who named it. The original title of the chapter was Your Beauty Is Not in Your Booty. And when we were talking about it, you suggested You Don't Have to Twerk It to Work It. And I said, oh my God, that's brilliant. So we decided to go with it. And so thank you for your contribution.
When the movie is made, because certainly the movie will be made, and it is, I'm taking can I just put a pin in that thought? Because sure. Carissa Butler, she has been so supportive of Pulsebeat, and she's a fan and a supporter. As we know, you can't do what we do without fans and supporters. So Carissa, we absolutely love you. Michelle.
Hi, Clarissa. How are you? Thank you for being a fan of Pulsebeat podcast.
And, I want you to turn to Will, Carissa, and tell everybody that loves you, and that means a whole lot of people, to watch us, because certainly we can't do what we do without people like you and your friends and supporters, so we love her.
Thank you. Now,
when we talk about, as I said before, this movie, and I'm jumping now, I put a pin in it, but I'm going to jump to the movie. Remember, this is a teaser. So when the movie is made based on your book, name me somebody that has to be in the film if it was up to you. Just one name.
Oh. I really like the young lady who recently appeared in The Hate U Give. I can't think of her name off the top of my head, but I'm speaking of. She was the star of that production. I think she's fabulous. Yeah. I would love to have her in the production if that ever comes to fruition.
And after I saw the movie Roxanne, there's an actress that I thought was so dynamic. She should have been nominated for an Academy Award. She should actually be winning the Academy Award. And for the record, even though I love Regina, who was in If Bill Street Could Talk, and that was Regina Bell. No, Regina Bell is the singer. Regina Hall. Regina Hall. We know her. Regina King. Regina King. We love her. We love her. We love her. But guess what? Nia Long was so dynamic as the mother of Roxanne in the film about the rapper Roxanne Shante, about that rapper. I want to see her in the movie. So if the movie is made and you have anything to do with it, could you maybe find a part for her, because she's so dynamic, Nia Long?
She is such an icon. I mean, absolutely. I think that she's such a dynamic woman.
Yeah.
She seems to have such a depth of character. She's obviously a very brilliant talent, but absolutely. I mean, if she's interested, I would certainly welcome her with open arms.
Yeah. So now remember, you're hearing it first that when the movie is made of the book, which is going to be an award-winning book, and its title is
Loving Me, Blocking Him.
Exactly. And when the movie is made, you're going to hear it from me first that Nia Long is going to be in the movie. And when the Oscars come and they say, and the Oscar for maybe Best Supporting Actress, Best Actress is Nia Long for the movie
Loving Me, Blocking Him.
So remember, you heard it here first.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, Michelle, I want to just kind of shift gears, and there's something that I'm laughing because, see, this is something that she told me, and it is the second floor, third shift, okay? Second shift. So I want you to tell this wonderful audience watching us, maybe all over the world, somebody is watching us from someplace. What do you mean by that? I know what she means, but she's going to tell you.
Ooh, that's a loaded question. I wasn't expecting that. Okay, so second shift refers to individuals who arrive at an event or opportunity or situation in less than a timely manner. They're not there early. They come a little bit later. So,
and this is a metaphor for folks who say, I'm gonna just break it down if I may. Let me just break it down. That, see, right now, under this Trump administration, there's a whole lot of spotlighting put on second shift folk. Okay, and now those are the people who are not as sharp as they need to be. The Peter Principle was a person reaches their highest level of being mediocre, that you can't go any further than your own sense of being mediocre. Mm-hmm. And so the second shift folk are the ones that, as hard as they try, they will never get past that sort of second class thinking. They will never get past that sort of being second, because they'll never be first, because they don't recognize their own inability to even be around people who are on that other level, because for whatever reason, they weren't blessed with that first class thinking. Mm-hmm. And I think if you're not blessed with that first class thinking, the only thing you can do is hope that you can be in the company of people that are going to inspire you to at least try your very best to get, I don't know, when you're not second shift, how do you get to first shift?
Well, I just think that it's something which has to be cultivated. And a lot of times there are those who have not had the opportunity to cultivate that particular level of insight. So they're not aware that they are not on the first tier or part of the first shift. And no judgment, it's just a lack of awareness. So I would like to hope that there would be a way in 2019 where we could help individuals to be aware of the fact that there is such a thing and help them to cultivate that ability.
Yeah, that's true. So true. And I think that when you watch shows like this and you're well-traveled, you're well-read, I believe those are investments and things that really take you out of that second shift, and it will move you towards where you need to be in that first in line, in that first shift.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that first level. Now, because of this job, working with Pulsebeat Media, we always have an opportunity to be in amazing places, because this is the subject, it's amazing people, amazing places. And when you talk about our being blessed, last night we had a chance to attend a book launch party at the Beacon, which is in downtown Detroit, an amazing space in the First Woodward building. And it was to celebrate Jason Wilson, and he's an author of a book that is really phenomenal. It is Cry Like a Man. Now, we know cry like a baby is one concept, but cry like a man. Michelle, you were there, and I helped to introduce the event. His wife, Nicole Wilson, who is also the executive director of the union, and they're working with young people in Detroit, young men, as a mentoring organization, doing some incredible, once again, that word, amazing things. Right. Let this audience know your impressions of the book, Cry like a man based on the event that we were able to attend last night in Detroit?
Well, the event was fabulous, and kudos to Kim Moore, who was the event coordinator for the event last night.
Yeah.
It was just so well executed. The premise of the book, of men being allowed within themselves and within society at large to be able to cry like a man, I think is just absolutely brilliant. Jason, first of all, is very, very passionate about the topic about which he's written. And I think that it's so important that as we begin to advance as a community and as a society, within the evolution of, who we are individually and as a collective, we need to kind of have a paradigm shift and look at individuals in a little bit different light.
Yeah.
I think it's fabulous that he is open enough to want to talk about his own experiences as a man and his journey, and to encourage other men to tap into an emotional aspect of themselves, which they normally shut the door on. Because until we have our men on board fully with who they are and their whole as individuals, it's going to be very difficult for the community to advance and to heal in the process.
Now, there was a question that I thought was rather insightful, and it is a dilemma really on more than one level. A question was asked from someone in the audience, and I want to say his name was Sean Blackman. I know him, and if I'm saying the name wrong, because he's a motivational speaker, he's a guy that I've known for a while who's doing some wonderful things. He is in the suit business, making guys look really super sharp. And I believe it's Sean Blackman, but if I'm saying the name wrong, forgive me, but the first name is Sean. He asked a question. He said, well, I know the concept of cry like a man and where that is going, but he said that isn't there something that may be dysfunctional behind taking the emotional leadership, for lack of a better word, that when women are allowed to be vulnerable, you really have to have the yin and yang. So don't you need a man that is not going to cry when the going gets tough and rough, because you need that yin and yang. You need someone that is not afraid to cry, that is not going to be stigmatized by it, but you also need someone, the captain of the ship. So what he was saying is that cry like a man, will it take away the yin or the yang that you need, that balance where you need somebody to be the rock that is going to be able to not shed a tear when it's about, you've got to keep your eye on the prize, even when you feel like crying. Your thoughts?
Well, I first of all think that tears are healing for anyone, regardless of one's gender. And water is a very powerful healing tool. So I would never discount a man's ability to be a man just because he's being emotional or vulnerable. I think that there is strength in allowing people to see who you really are. And the fact of the matter is that if it's on the inside, either it comes out in anger or it comes out in a form of sensitivity.
Right.
And I personally would be very much welcoming of a gentleman who was strong enough to be able to be vulnerable. I think there's a lot of strength in that.
Yeah, that's true. And I really feel that it's a give and take. There are times when we both need to cry. Mm-hmm. There are times when I need to cry and you need to be the wings beneath me that are going to allow me to go where I need to go, and vice versa. Mm-hmm. So I do believe in terms of balance. And I think that the concept that Jason is bringing is needed, that young men, they're calling it toxic masculinity, where the whole concept of being a man can be dysfunctional. And being a man, you're supposed to not do A, B, and C, but maybe not doing A, B, and C is what will weaken you when being a man, if it's about being strong. I am strong enough to cry in front of anybody, especially one's better half. And
there are a lot of women who cry too. That's the other thing too. There are a lot of strong women.
But there are a lot of men that are they associate tears with weakness.
But there are so many brilliant, strong women who have been able to forge ahead because they've been able to release the stresses through their tears. So I just think that it's just a part of being human, and that we should not negate the fact that there are men who have, many men, most people, we're all human, who have feelings, and they need to release their stress and frustration somehow. So, you know, God gave us tears for a reason. So I think that men should be embraced as opposed to shunned for releasing their sensitivity through tears.
And yeah, and the whole concept of water, I remember in the Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, that great movie as well as play. And I remember there was a scene when it was Martha's her name, and she said that these tears, I collect them and I turn them into ice cubes and I put them in a cocktail glass and I drink my tears away, and the tears become ice cubes. And it was a metaphor for what tears can symbolize as it relates to the whole process of who we are and where we are, and how tears mark the moment. And like, I like to say that, you know, it's not about the moment, it's about the movement. And I'm not saying that the tears should ever be collected and frozen and put into a cocktail glass and you pour the alcohol and you drink yourself into a dark, dangerous place. But what I am saying is, as you said, there is power in the fact that tears come from the essence of who we are as humans, and that is 80% H2O, 80% water. So it's very powerful. Now, when we talk in terms of Detroit as a destination city, and we're living in downtown Detroit, and the End at 97 Winder, as I said before, becomes a destination for you to visit, for you to recommend people to stay here, because it's just that gorgeous. Just look around you right now. And I mean, we're blessed to be here. So it's a wonderful place. But when we talk about Detroit as a destination city and you're living in downtown Detroit, can you give somebody who's watching this who wants to come to Detroit, somebody that doesn't live in Detroit, or someone that maybe lives here and they just don't know what is hot and happening in downtown Detroit, name me 3 must see, visit, dine at places that you know make downtown Detroit such a hot spot?
I would certainly say the Motown Museum. Okay. Because it reflects the musical history and legacy of the talent that has come out of the city of Detroit.
And that's in Midtown, and that's only a stone's throw from downtown Detroit.
I would add the DIA, and
which is the Detroit Institute of Art.
I'm sorry. Speaking in acronyms here.
And that was put on the list of, I think, the top 10 museums in these United States. The DIA, the Detroit Institute of Art, is on that list.
Yes, and as well as the Charles Wright Museum of African American History. Those two are in very close proximity to one another, and they are must-sees.
You know, I don't mean to cut into this, but when the Dr. Charles H. Wright Museum of African American History is being rebranded as the Wright, your thoughts about that?
Well, my mother and father were part of one of the early committees to help move the concept of the Dr. Charles H. Wright Museum forward. So the full name, the Dr. Charles H. Wright Museum, is very special to me because of my parents' contribution to the process of helping to conceptualize the museum. So personally, it will always be for me the Dr. Charles H. Wright Museum. So that would as well be on my list of places that are must-see places. And as far as restaurants are concerned, oh my goodness, there are so many restaurants that are coming online, and many of which I'm not familiar with, because every time we turn around, you know, there's something new. There's a new place. I would have to say,
so
oh,
I'm giving her a clue because I know she loves vegetarian restaurants.
Yes, Vegan Soul has amazing food.
That's in Indian Village.
In Indian Village. There's also one on Grand River, which is further out in the city. But their menu is wonderful. The food is delicious. It's the ambiance is very it's kind of eclectic, and it's intimate.
Right.
But if you're looking for really, really well prepared vegetarian vegan food, Vegan Soul is the place to go.
Wow. So now let's say we're staying at the Inn at 97 Winder, and we're going to go to Hitsville, the Motown Museum. And then we're going to go to the DIA, the Detroit Institute of Arts. Then we're going to go to the Dr. Charles H. Wright Museum of African American History, which is being rebranded as the right. That's WHIGHT, Allah, in the memory of its founder, Dr. Charles Wright. And then we're going to just wrap it all up at Vegan Soul in Indian Village, which is in this historic section of Detroit, which is only a stone's throw from downtown, for vegetarian food with that soul food magic. Now, I don't know how you do vegetarian food without some fat back, some pork, a smoked turkey leg. How do they do it?
It's magic. I don't know what their recipes entail, but the food is outstanding, and their desserts are delectable. And whether you're a vegan or vegetarian or not, I would highly recommend Vegan Soul as being one of the places that you should go.
Now, as I said before, behind every great man, there's a great woman, be it his wife, his mother, some woman that has been awe-inspiring. And behind every great organization, there's always somebody that is awe-inspiring. And behind this organization that both you and I love, Pulsebeat Media, it's Joel Boykin.
Absolutely.
And Joel is part of she's one of the inductees of the 2019 Silver Circle of the National Academy of Television Arts and Sciences. And it is one of the highest honors that can be bestowed by anybody that is a member of that esteemed organization. Of course, we know that they're the ones that give out the Grammy Award, the Emmy Awards. I'm also a member of the Recording Academy, and I vote for the Grammys, but I'm also a member of the Television Academy, and the Emmy Awards certainly are the highest honor that you can get. And so, hey, it is what it is. But Joel has been inducted into this prestigious Silver Circle, and this means that her peers, who are considered to be the best in television broadcasting, they voted her to be part of the best. That's what they consider to be the best. And Joel is history making because she is the first African-American female to actually be a photojournalist, a camera person. And I know that the more politically correct term is a camera person, a photographer, for a major network affiliate, and that's NBC. And she's worked for some other outlets as well. And she did it for such a very long time. So we're blessed to have her as our leader. So you know how I feel about Joel Boykin. And for the record, I want you to tell the world how you feel about Joel Boykin and what makes her who she is as our leader, our fearless, feminine leader.
Joel is absolutely amazing. She is humble and enormously talented. She is insightful and highly gifted, and is just very warm, and I don't know what other word to use. I mean, she's just Joel. She's super easy to work with. She's a visionary, and I am so happy that both you and Joel have embraced me and have allowed me to be part of this wonderful organization.
And you know what? I love to play this game. Now, just bear with me, audience, because this is for me, and hopefully you're going to feel that it's coming from my heart and soul. Joel, Joel. I'm going to start. J is because of the joy and the joyfulness of her just presence. Whenever you're in the presence of Joel, that J has to be joy. O.
Outstanding. Because you are outstanding, Joel.
Now, she's hearing us, audience,
Yes.
and she's so humble that she's actually, she's turning, I guess, is the color red or purple is the color purple. Okay, but we're on O. Okay, we're on O. O for.
So she is outstanding. She's an outstanding videographer. She's an outstanding producer. She's an outstanding individual. I mean, so O, I think, is outstanding. I think is very appropriate.
Yeah, and now the E, I'm going to say educated. And the reason why is because she's a graduate of one of the world's greatest universities, University of Michigan, and she's also one of the world's great high schools, Cass Technical High School. And Joel is a professor now at WCCCD, and that's Wayne County Community College District, inspiring young people as a college professor. So I think that educated component behind her name, she couldn't do what she is doing so well without being blessed by God. And we know that, but the educational training that she has as a photographer, is part of why what she does is so exceptional. Now, let's go to L.
So for L, I have two words: loyal and loving. Joel is amazing when it comes to the love and loyalty she shows to her friends and her family. She's so reliable and resilient. I know that's not part of, ours, not part of her name, but I'm just saying she encompasses. She's just very loving. I mean, I've watched her care for her mom and her brothers and her friends, and she is loyal. If you are Joel's friend, then she's your friend, and she's never going to waver in that regard. Right. So I would say loving and loyal.
Now, we're on a roll here, so I'm going to just not say, Joel is saying cut. No. We're going to keep on going, okay? And we're going to go now to Boy Can Be. B is for bold, because Joel, among the many bold things that she's done in her career, Ann Thompson, who we know from national NBC News, the award-winning Ann Thompson, Joel was involved in I want to say a fiasco, or award-winning caper or whatever, but remember when the award took place and it was the Pistons and the championship that they won, and the city of Detroit just got crazy. And Joel was in the middle of that with Ann Thompson, and it was really life-threatening, but it received international attention. But that's because Joel was bold enough to be in that moment, part of the movement of her career, and they won an Emmy Award. The footage that Joel shot went all over the world, and that would not have happened if she wasn't bold, B-O-L-D. Oh, again, for you.
Oh, okay. So I'm going to use this word, and I'm going to clarify why I'm using it. The word that comes to my mind is ordinary. And I say that because Joel is so humble. You would never know about her accomplishments through her, because she doesn't talk about herself. She doesn't brag. She doesn't boast. She's just very humble and just a regular person. So in that regard, I would say, she's very ordinary, very, very talented, but very humble.
Yeah, and for why, I'm going to say that there are certain people who are ageless. And even though I am a component when I talk to people who are older, to always embrace being older, because it makes you more seasoned, which means that you're tastier, you're more delicious. But there is something about having a youthful spirit. And a youthful spirit means that whether you are 10, 40, 60, 80, or beyond, that there is this energy that comes from a youthful spirit in the most sensitive way to what youth should symbolize. I'm not looking at youth meaning that you are better looking because you have no wrinkles, because when we earn these wrinkles, that means that we've lived long enough to tell a story that needs to be respected. But a youthful demeanor, I think there's nothing wrong with that. And anybody that is still on the scene and still making things happen, it's because of that youthful spirit that is a blessing from God. So why for that youthfulness?
Okay. So I have K. Yes. So the word that comes to mind is kinetic, having to do with energy. So for those who've never been on the scene where, Joel and Greg have been reporting from or interviewing someone, you don't see how quickly and energetically Joel moves. She's always in motion, and she does it with such enthusiasm and such proficiency. It's amazing to watch her carry the equipment and set everything up, and chase people down across the room and set up the staging for the interview. So yeah, she has a lot of energy. So I would say kinetic.
Yeah, and I got to add the word kind too. I know that I'm doing trouble, but K for kinetic and kind.
Yes.
I would say would be insightful
and intelligent.
Intelligent, without question, intelligent and insightful. And I want to say intelligent and insightful because I think that when one is intelligent and you have insight, and when they come together, there's a power behind that. We know knowledge is power, and there's a power that comes from being insightful, insightful enough to know the right buttons to push always. When I look at the brilliant things that she has done as an photographer, you can't do what she does if you don't have insight to know the right photographs, the right moments that really bring it together, that make it award winning. We were blessed to win the National Association of Black Journalists. They named this television show Pulsebeat.tv, which, by the way, is coming back on television on ABC's the affiliate owned Channel 20 in Detroit. So we're happy about that. But when we won that award for Pulsebeat.tv, partly it was because of, and a great part, it was because of the insight that Joel always brings to whatever we do visually to make something happen that I told Joel is the Joel Boykin technique of cinematography, of the way she shoots and the way she matches the music, the image, and then the magic happens. So I want to say I for intelligent, as you said, but also having an insight that makes it really extraordinary.
And Joel is just nice. She's just a very nice person. Even though she's tossing the pillow, I'm assuming it's a prop.
But you know what? Thank you, my dear, because guess what? This is going to be
You can toss
nice.
the other one too if you want.
I can be real nice. So I'm leaning against it. Okay.
Yay,
Two pillows. Okay.
2 pillows. Okay.
2 pillows. Okay.
Joel is just super nice. I have, everyone has 2 sides. It's just human nature. You have a good side and a side that may not be as good as the good side. But Joel is always even-tempered, and she's just nice. She's just really easy to be around.
And what a wonderful way to bring it all together, because in a world of evil people, and certainly we've got a lot of problems in 2019 with some of the evil people, those second shift evil people, and no names mentioned, but I think you know who we're talking about. But in a world of evil people, too many evil people, thank God that we can put a spotlight on somebody who is nice, because I don't care what you have going for you. One of the greatest things that anyone can say about you is that you're a nice person. And Joel is indeed a very nice person. Absolutely. So now you can see why we love working for Pulsebeat Media.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it is really all of those things. And for those of you who don't know Joel Boykin, do understand this is coming from our heart and our soul. And so it's something that you had to hear. And as 2019 is going to unfold, you're going to be hearing some other things about Joel Boykin that will put Pulsebeat Media on that first shift. That award, well, we've won awards. Joe has 3 Emmys, so therefore she knows about an award, and certainly the NABJ, National Association of Black Journalists, and the AP Award. And so she knows about awards. So believe me, as 2019 is unfolding, you're going to be very happy that we've introduced you to the name Joel Boykin. Now, because we cover arts, entertainment, and culture, the Academy Awards are about to happen. And I just want to talk just for a moment or two about any film that you have seen that is exceptional that has been nominated.
So Beale
if Beale Street could talk.
Oh my gosh, that was an amazing film.
It was amazing. Yeah.
It was amazing.
And there's a scene, I can't tell you what it is, but the scene is so hot and so juicy and so zuma that if you see one movie this year, for those who don't, you got to see If Beale Street Can Talk. It's based on the James Baldwin work, because there are a lot of things that happen in that movie that I think we have to be reminded of. The relationship that comes out of a love that I think jumped at you. The guy that is lead, can't think of his name, and the young lady was absolutely wonderful. Denise J. Bryson, you say yay. Love you too, because you're always there for Pulsebeat Media, and we love you. And when I watch the movie, I'm thinking that as your daughter said, I want a man like that, because she understood that love. And I wish I could think of his name, because and you know, the torch has to be passed on. And Denzel Washington, as we know, one of the greats, that this man, and cannot think of his name, that was the star. But hey, you know, you will find out, Google, the star of If Beale Street Could Talk.
I will say that it seems as though he must have read Jason's book.
Yes.
Because there were aspects of his character, the depth of his sensitivity and the love that he had for the young lady he was in love with. You know, I think that he probably made Jason Wilson very, very proud.
Yes, indeed. Cry Like a Man.
Cry Like a Man.
If Beale Street Could Talk.
Beale Street Could Talk.
And Joel is looking up the name of the star that I know. Can you look it up? Okay, anyway.
Bill, like
yeah, Beal. Bill, yeah.
Brilliant in the movie.
Yeah, if you could look it up, yeah, the guy that was the star of that film. Yeah, Bill. If Beale Street Could Talk, Bill is the street, B-E-A-L.
Or was it B-E-A-L-E?
Well, it might be B-E-A-L-E, yes. Beale Street. That great street, is it in New Orleans? Is in Memphis, Beale Street, that we know.
It could be anywhere.
Yeah, anywhere. It's that urban street where a lot of hot happenings go on. But it was a great movie. And that one scene when the women got together, I don't want to really tell you what's going to happen, but it is a unforgettable scene when women come together and they have to set each. Well, I'm not going to tell you anymore. Though you just have to watch the movie. The Academy Awards. There was another movie that I saw, The Favorite.
I've not seen that.
Which is about Queen Anne, and it is a very interesting film. It may not be for everybody. It's a very sensitive topic. I don't know if teenagers need to see the movie because it's historical, but it's an adult film. But I want to put that on the list. After I saw the film, I said it's going to receive a lot of Academy Award nominations, and I think that it received more nominations than any of them. And then there was Bohemian Rhapsody, which is a story about Queen. And we did a teaser about that after I saw it. It wasn't really a teaser. It was a Pulsebeat podcast media recommendation. What's the guy's name again, Joel? Stephen James, I believe is his name. Yeah, Stephen James, I believe, is the lead of If Beale Street Could Talk. And I hope I'm getting the name right, because if it is Stephen James, I'm pretty sure that's the name, that he is the kind of guy that is destined. She's showing us the photo of the guy, and I'm looking right now. And If Beale Street, that's the cast. It's Stephen James. If Beale Street, yeah, it's got to be him. And yeah, that is him. He is brilliant.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Stephen James, and that's S-T-E-P-H-A-N James. He is outstanding. And remember, we said in the tradition of the great actors. And there's another guy that I thought he was brilliant. And he was the star of Bohemian Rhapsody, playing the story of, and once again, a mental block for me, the lead singer of Queen was, I
can't remember his name.
Joe, help us out, because I need to know this. It's just been one of those kind of days. The lead singer of Queen, and it was Remy Malek is his name, I believe. R-E-M-I-M-A-L-E-K, I believe is his name. And he played the lead singer of Queen. What's his name? Oh my God, I'm getting a mental block. Help me out. Now, Joel is Googling this for the audience, because we want to get this right, because I said he was going to win the Academy Award, and he won the Golden Globe as Best Actor in a Motion Picture, and he plays the charismatic lead who was the vocalist with the group Queen. And why can't we think of his name?
I can't remember it either.
And Joel is looking it up, because I know that Freddie Mercury, yes, was the lead singer, and he plays Freddie Mercury, and I'm pretty sure the name is Malek, R-E-M-I-M-A-L-E-K. Is that right? Malik, and he is Egyptian. He's Egyptian. And, you know, I put on Facebook that I thought that he was so great when the movie first came out, and then I get a note from him befriending me on Facebook. So you never know when you're in the world of the internet who's going to respond to what you put out. And I also put this out too, and I want to talk about it, because Yoda, what's her name? Is it Yoda from she's from NBC. She was on the Hoda. I said Yoda, I'm thinking of Star Wars. But help me with the name again.
Hoda Kotb.
Hodakapi, she is Egyptian, and you and her could be sisters. And Remy Malik he's also Egyptian. Now, Egypt is where? In the continent of
Africa.
Right, so that would make them Africans.
Yes.
And because they're Americans, that would make them African
Americans.
And they're not necessarily considered to be African Americans, but they are when you're from the continent of Africa and your ancestry is directly. I mean, we all come from Africa. We know that because Africa is the birthplace of humankind, of civilization.
Michelle, there's another story about that African thing, right?
What story is that?
What story?
You said that Africans don't like to be called African Americans because it's a confusion.
Okay, can you?
Oh, I'm trying to remember what I said. So I think maybe I had said something about African sometimes. So in my experience, and I'm speaking for myself personally, sometimes there has been the question as to how African Americans could have allowed themselves to have been enslaved. Is that what you're speaking of?
That was just that Africans and African Americans. Anyway, it's the word.
I don't remember. I'm not sure.
But at the end of the day, Egypt is in Africa.
Yeah, for sure.
And if you're from an
fixed.
ancestry that you identify as being Egyptian, and what a great civilization Egypt was, and will probably always be. And so I made a point to say that Remy, who is brilliant, he reminded me years ago, I saw this young lady, I was probably 8, 9, in a movie called Funny Girl, Barbra Streisand. And at that very young age, I knew that her destiny was megastardom.
Right.
Then years later, when I saw Remy in Bohemian Rhapsody, I knew also that his destiny is megastardom because he is just that brilliant. So we're expecting great things from him. And my prediction is that he will win the Academy Award this year, 2019, because he is just that outstanding.
You heard it first on Pulsebeat podcast.
Yeah. Now, you know what? I'm looking at the clock, and we always have such a fun time when we talk to this audience because we know you're listening and you're hanging on to every word that we're saying. So we appreciate you. But as I like to do, Michelle, is I never like to say goodbye because in your case, as always, see you later because we work together. But also, see you later because it is, as I like to say, not about the moment. We had a wonderful moment, but it's about the movement. So in 2019, I want you to take this mic and look into the world. This camera is the world, and tell the world what the heart, soul, and the spirit is instructing you to let them know in this wonderful movement that is part of this ongoing movement. In 30 seconds or less.
It'll be less than 30 seconds. I will say to you that 2019 is our year. Our time has come. So whatever you've been praying for, wishing for, waiting for to happen in your life, 2019 is your year. So we are looking forward to collectively becoming prosperous, peaceful, and powerful.
Fantastic. Speaking words of wisdom, truth to power. Thank you for joining the Pulsebeat podcast. Vodcast, that's VODCAST because you're watching us, and that's a vodcast as compared to a podcast, but Pulsebeat podcast. And we are blessed. Why? Because you took this time to watch us, and being at the end at 97 Winder always makes me feel regal and righteous and special because it's just that sort of place. So if you're thinking about coming to this wonderful city, Detroit, make sure that you think about staying at the end at 97 Winder because, as I said before, it defines why this city is so great. And another reason why we're here is because the power that comes from a hug. So when she and I hug each other and say, see you later, I want you to know that we're hugging you too. See you the next go round. Yeah. Oh, you know what? And also, Joel is reminding us that like us on Facebook, and you're going to see this also. Yeah, you're going to also see us. You're also going to see us pop up. And when you see us pop up, there's a way that you can make sure that we're going to pop up. And Michelle, can you let them know? Because there's a way that they can get an announcement whenever we're about to come on.
Yes, so when you receive a notification that Pulsebeat is going live, there should be a little button that you can set so that you'll always receive an alert. So whenever Pulsebeat is coming on live, because you're friends with Facebook, friends with Pulsebeat on Facebook, set the button so that you always receive alerts, and then you can always be connected to the podcast.
Right. And so once again, Facebook, we're on Facebook right now, and we need for you to always circulate this. If you like what you have just heard and you have watched, we need for you to circulate it among your network of family, fans, friends, and let them know that this is something that they should be tuning in on, because this allows us to do what we do.
Yes.
And, you know, we ended that with a hug, but now we're going to blow a kiss in your direction. Oh, Joel is saying something else. Okay, Joel, what else? Yes, and we come on every Sunday. We're on every Sunday, and we're filming at the End at 97 Winder. And every Wednesday, we're at Aretha's Jazz Cafe at the History Making Music Hall, which is another venue. We talked about Little Caesars Arena, which is right across the street from the End at 97 Winder, but also only just a few minutes away is the Music Hall, another history making venue. And we are doing our podcast normally around 5:30, 6 o'clock, maybe 7, maybe even longer. And we're asking you to tune in live if you can. And then this podcast is normally every Sunday, and we're doing it around 1:30, 2 in the afternoon. And we're doing it because we love you. And we're going to just now say goodbye. Last time it was with a hug, but this time let's blow him a kiss. See you next go round.